Hello friends, and welcome back to my channel. Happy Saturday. I hope that you all have had an amazing and blessed Thanksgiving and just time with your family. And I am excited to share with you guys today's video. Now I know it is not Monday, but we are going to talk about some money tips that my husband and I have utilized in our financial journey. We have just hit our 2-year mark with Dave Ramsey plan, which is absolutely crazy. Can't believe it's been 2 years on this journey, but they've been 2 of the best years that we've had, probably ever, I think. Definitely in our marriage, because we have really set a great foundation for our finances. But we've also learned a lot, and we've had to battle through this situation and through our debt together, which has just brought us closer together and made us stronger as a couple and capable of tackling anything. So with all of that said, what I want to share with you guys today is how to live on one income as a family. Now, obviously, we're only a family of 2 right now, plus our teenager who we've kind of adopted in, but this really will work, and I feel like it spans any type of family that you have. So for right now, my husband and I, we both work outside of the home, but we live on one income. So before we get any further, let's go ahead and just jump on into how and why we do this. Okay guys, so you may be asking yourself, well, if both of you work, then why would you only live on one income, or what does that actually mean? So the number one reason why we decided this was that when we started our financial journey, we really talked about what our ultimate goals were going to be once we were financially free and once we had a good financial foundation. One of those goals is to have the ability to choose how we raise our children, and that is a huge part of that involves one of us only working, so one person being at our home and being able to raise our children full time. Now that's something that we would like to have as an option on the table when the time does come for us to raise the family. It doesn't mean that that's a route that we're necessarily going to walk down, but it is something that we wanted available as an option. We didn't want to be in a situation where we were strapped and every single penny that came into our household had to go out and had to be used in order to make our household run for the month. So that is our number one reason why we do this, but I really truly feel like the overall arching reason to get yourself to a place of living on one income as a family is to be sure that you're living below your means. If you're living on one income, that means that you're living on typically less than 50% of the income that's coming into your home. And that means that you have a large chunk of money each month to be able to save, to be able to invest, to be able to, give and plan for things and set money into savings and do different things that really give you a solid financial footing and also set you up for just great financial success in the future. So some things that we would like to do that totally go along with Dave Ramsey's plan are that when we purchase a home, we want to pay it off early. We want to fully fund children's college funds when we do have children. We want to be able to go on vacations that are obviously debt-free and that don't break our backs and break the bank when we go on them. We want to be able to just enjoy life and be able to give generously and do all of these things. I think one thing that we have said as a family that we'd like to do one day is to give a $1,000 gift. And when we were first dating when we set that goal, and we talked about it every now and then since that point, and knowing that we're actually getting closer and closer to being able to actually do that is so incredibly exciting, and it's just going to be such a huge moment for us. So, not at all about a monetary value or anything like that, but that's just simply a goal that we've had as a family, and being able to live on one income has helped us, will help us to get to a point of being able to do those things. So today I want to share with you guys how we got to a point of being able to live on one income when we were at one point living on literally every single dime that we made plus some. We were at one point when we started our Dave Ramsey journey living at a deficit. So everything that came in had to go right back out, but we also needed additional money to pay our bills and to make just life happen. So how did we go from that point to now where we're saving quite a large chunk of money each and every month from my income? For those of you who are wondering, we do live on my husband's income fully, and so that is why I don't share his income. He is a pastor, so it's something that we just keep kind of private for ourselves. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the how as far as how we've been able to do this. So the number one thing that I have to say, and I feel like I say this in every video when I share tips with you guys, is to budget. It is the number one thing that you have to do. You have to know where your money's going, and you have to tell it where to go. So each and every penny, dime, dollar that comes in, you need to give it a name and a job. And when you give each amount of money a job to do, then you're able to see where your money's going, where you have room for you know, cutting a little bit back, where you have a room that you're just spending way too much, where you can challenge yourself and really cut back a little bit here and there to really get the most bang for your buck out of your income. So that is tip number one, is to make sure you're budgeting well, to make sure that you're budgeting a new budget each and every month, and to make sure that you're discussing it with your spouse or whoever it is that is keeping you accountable. For this, obviously, it's taking into account two people's incomes, but really taking into account your spouse's opinion and their ideas, and really acting as a team when you're building this budget. Not just building a budget and then saying like, okay, this is the budget, are you cool with that? Good, let's go. But really making sure that each person has input and has a say in the budget and what they need out of the budget for that month, and being able to work together as a team to tweak things and make sure that everyone is happy with the budget at the end of the day. And then I also do recommend that you consult the budget frequently throughout the month. So for instance, I actually look at our budget probably, if not every day, every other day. I am totally like the nerd in our scenario. So I'm constantly thinking about the numbers, looking at what we can do, where we're budgeting, where we, you know, need a little bit more money for the month and things like that, where we have room to cut back and all that. I'm constantly playing through scenarios and running out numbers. So that is really my wheelhouse, but my husband and I do sit down and do talk about the different things that are going on throughout the month to make sure we're still on the same page and to see where we kind of need to adjust things as the month goes along. So tip number two, I kind of touched on it already, but it is to challenge yourself. So say you have made your budget and you're looking at your like EveryDollar app or EveryDollar website, and you're thinking, okay, so we have an extra $200 left at the end of this budget once we've gotten everything plugged in and put where it needs to go. So instead of saying, well, cool, I'll take $100 for extra personal money and you take $100, I would encourage you to challenge yourself. Say, okay, we're going to put that $200 into savings automatically. We're going to do an auto transfer, so that goes right into our savings account. And then what else are we going to do to cut back a little bit more to make sure that we're saving just a little more, right? What else can we do to just push ourselves a little bit extra? If you're already living on a very bare bones or beans and rice budget, then that may not be an option for you. But if you aren't, then you can definitely find places to cut, trim the fat, so to speak. Right? You have to look at those things and see what you can cut back and what's really an extra thing that's in your budget that you don't necessarily need. For us, for instance, a lot of the times it comes down to personal products. We don't need new personal products every month. So sometimes that's an area in our budget that we can skimp a little bit and kind of pull back on and put more into savings or allocate to a different category that we know we'll need a little bit later. Especially as we're coming up to Christmas. Over the last couple of months, what we've been doing is just looking at where we can trim a little bit and put a little bit additional into our savings for Christmas. That way we have a nice healthy Christmas fund that we don't feel strapped on. We're not feeling like we have to pinch pennies constantly during the month of December or skimp on other areas like buying groceries in order to get Christmas presents. So that's something that's been helpful for us. Tip number 3 that I have to share with you is to do an auto transfer, whether it's into the same savings account that your checking account is at, the same bank, or whether it's to a completely different bank. Set up automatic transfers for specific amounts that you know your family can live without. So once you've established that buffer where you're going to either be saving or you're putting a specific amount of money away for your baby steps, like baby step 2, I would still do a transfer for baby step number 2. Because if you're anything like us, we transfer our money into whatever debt we're paying on at the end of the month. So throughout the whole month, if that money is just sitting in our checking account, then each time we look at it, we're like, oh, we got an extra, $500 to spend. Like, let's go out to eat. Yeah, like, let's go on an extra date. Or, oh, you need to get some new clothes? Here, just spend that. That's fine. Because you forget what it's for. It's so easy to just lose track of it and to not realize what it is that this money is allocated for. So by putting it aside and taking it out of the equation, like the spending equation, that really helps to separate things and to help you to remember what this money is actually for and what its job truly is. And the last tip that I have to share with you on this topic is one thing that my husband and I had to do when we were first beginning, and that is to seek out or make a plan for gainful employment or promotions. So whether you are in a job that you love, but you know that you're not quite making enough or quite as much as you would like to, figure out with your employer, how you can get to the next level. What can you do to really give yourself that, to get that promotion for yourself, to earn that? What else can you do that's kind of outside of your job? Or if you are in a job that's just kind of a placeholder, figure out where you can really set your career and really dig your career feet into. Because once you do that, you will really be able to boost your income And you'll see those incremental increases that are equivalent to your skills and you know what it is that you bring to the table as far as an actual career. When we started, we were just working kind of like odds and ends jobs. Like my husband was just getting started as a pastor, so he was very, very entry level. So we knew that he was gonna go up from there. And I was just working at like a random job to just kind of get by before I could get back into design work. So we knew that we were both at kind of an entry level point as far as our careers were going, but we really sought out and made a lot of changes and worked very hard to get to where we are today with being in a career that I love, that my husband has loved, of course. He's sitting over there, which is why I keep pointing. But you know, careers that we love, but are also fulfilling and also meet our financial needs and have a greater ability and projection for higher income. So really looking at those things and figuring out, are you just in a placeholder job? Do you need something that is truly a career in order to give yourself additional income and to really get your family to a point of being able to live on one income? Or do you need to, you know, go back to school to study something else, or whatever it is that you're doing? Figure out how you can establish yourself and get into a position where you're able to get increases and get raises. And I know that's a little bit harder to do than it is to just say, but it takes work, and it's going to be worth it, I promise you. Over the past 2 years, I have changed jobs several times because I thought, you know, something was going to be X, Y, and Z, and it turned out to be A, B, C, and it just was not the right fit, or it was something, I agreed to take something that was completely different than what it actually ended up being. And so I've had to make some adjustments, and that was a little bit challenging. It did feel a little bit defeating, but at the end of the day, I knew what I was worth and what I was capable of and what I wanted to be doing. And I really got myself to a point of being in that. And I'm now in a job that I love, that I'm excited to go to work to every day, and something that is really fulfilling. So I encourage you to seek that out as well, because you deserve it. You know, you just have to work hard and put the hustle in, and I promise you it will be totally worth it. And my husband has seen that as well for his job also. This is something that he was very passionate about, and he knew that this was the place that he needed to be, and so he worked his tail off even when we were just going to this church as, you know, just church attenders and just as volunteers. We were working so hard, and that has paid off in huge dividends over these past few years as we've seen, you know, the fruits of our labor rewarded, and just are reaping the benefits from planting those seeds and, you know, toiling that soil. So those are the tips I have to share with you guys today. I hope you find those helpful. I would love to know what your thoughts are on living on one income, whether your family does it or whether they don't, or whether you're working at a point to get to that. Let me know in a comment down below, and I would love to read those. Thank you guys so much for watching, and again, I hope you had just a great Thanksgiving and are enjoying lots of time with your family. I'll talk to you guys very soon. Have a great day.